we need a systemic, open leadership framework. So that's number one. Number two, we need something that I call connected learning. And then number three, we need social. And so I'll get into that. So Telus is a traditional telecom. It has a 100-year history. It has folks that are millennials to the silent generation. There's 38,000 team members, employees. They're in all walks of life, way, shape, and form. They live in Canada, for 25,000 of them. The other 12 to 13,000 live in the States. They live in the Philippines. They live in China. They live in India. They live in South America. So, it's a global company. It's about $10 billion in revenue. And, in spite of the good track record, in spite of great financial performance, in spite of a litany of awards, Bill, like you name it, we probably won it. There was still sort of this nagging opportunity that was engagement. And that how much better a company could we be if we were engaged? Not middle of the pack engagement, Bill, but top, best in class, top shelf engagement. Of the three legs of the stool, the first one we had to address was leadership. We needed a model for everybody, and we wanted everyone to not act like clones and act the same way. But we all had to have a commonality. We had to have a lexicon that made sense for each other, and that there was an element of trust and really reciprocity. Number two, connected learning. Learning today, much like we're chatting on Skype, is not just in a classroom. So Telus, much like many big companies and frankly small companies, think that training, learning, education occurs solely in a classroom. And as a consequence to that, people think they need to go to the learning management system, register for a course, register for e-learning. That's how they learn. And that is BS. So I had to instill this model called connected learning, where learning is equal parts formal, informal, and social. So the formal pieces, you have a classroom course, you have a conference, you have an e-learning course. Like, they're still needed, but that's not where it starts, nor is where it ends. Because with the informal and social, informal examples, Bill, are coaching, mentoring, books, website, webcast, Skype chats like this. Like, that's informal. We're having a dialogue and we're learning from one another. That's equally important as it is to the social. And a lot of people didn't understand social learning, but now they do at Telus, because that's when we use, I'm emoting my opinion in a blog. I'm able to go work, collaborate together on a wiki or cross-functional document creation. Or I'm able to take Twitter, put that inside of our company, and have people using sort of a controlled, if you will, Twitter inside the organization. Safe. People are allowed to use, short kind of microblog quips to catch up with one another or to see, hey, what's going on. We built our own YouTube inside Telus. So all these social technologies that are happening externally, like Skype, like Second Life, like Twitter, like Facebook, like YouTube, we built internally. So for me, feeling like at times, if you've ever been to IKEA on a Saturday, went in the exit instead of the entrance, that's me. I'm that guy going up the other way as the collaborative contrarian, sort of helping people along that path saying, you know what? I actually think maybe we should, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? And knowing full well that at times it's going to hurt and I get pummeled by a million people, but that eventually people will see there are many within the organization that perhaps felt and still feel that they don't need a TLP. They don't need a Telus leadership philosophy. I've been doing this all my life. I know what I'm doing. I'm a leader. And it's sort of me in my collaborative contrarian way and pushing up against that resistance, often trying to both emote and position and sort of help these leaders understand that in fact their classical, hierarchical, command and control style is the exact reason why engagement is at levels where they're at. So to to use sort of a classic story here at times, like let's say a basketball game, I felt like I kept getting hit with technical fouls, and I eventually got thrown out of the game, and I'm trying to get back in because no, this is the way we've always done it. This is okay. So that happens and happens a lot. Because I guess philosophically and fundamentally, Bill, I know it's right. There is so much data that I don't need to pour into, and you know all too well, that suggests that when you have a happy, engaged employee who not only feels greatly about their boss, but the organization, they will go over and above the call of duty to support their brethren inside the company and the customer. It is irrefutable. The more time we can have this type of open leadership, open dialogue, career conversation, career development, and so forth, we know time and time again, whether it's A Group, whether it's McKinsey, whether it's McBassey, I don't care what study you look at, it is irrefutable that the most engaged companies are the most productive companies, the most productive companies are the most prominent in terms of customer sat, profitability, and customer connection. You should put your ass on the line is because it's the right thing to do. Organizations are shifting away, as Tom Malone describes, from command and control to cultivate and coordinate. The data is irrefutable. We are suggesting to you that as a manager, as a leader inside your organization, take the baton and cross the finish line because societally we're moving there. Why can't we move organizationally inside our companies? Take the leap. The one thing, first and foremost, is you can't call someone out and say, you're wrong, I'm right. That's called finger pointing, and we both know that three are pointing back at me. So you have to kind of work with folks and where they're at historically. You have to show and demonstrate by case study or by examples within your own organization why and how this is actually taking off. You need a circle of ambassadors. So as an example, you think about that third leg of the stool, the social bit. So when I first joined Telus, again, just over 2 years ago now, we started a team called the 2.0 Adoption Council. It was open to anybody. Anyone could join every other Friday, 8 a.m. Pacific to 10 o'clock Pacific. You just show up. And we had it range from sort of 30 to 100. People would show up on a conference call with webcams and so on. And what we would do is we talk adoption. We talk adoption not just of the tools, but the behaviors. And so a best practice lesson learned is you've got to get some allies. It can't be just, the one guy coming in and saying, all right, follow me. This is the way to go. You got to find some ambassadors, some other agents of trust that are going to help tell the story, they're going to help position it, they're going to help breed and surface these case studies within the organization that you then populate throughout the org. So, there are times when the door gets shut, I get it, but when you're ready, I'd like to come back. I guess another way to analyze this is, this is an ultra marathon, not a light switch. So I had no visions of grandeur that as soon as I joined Telus, flick a switch, and then all of a sudden, Telus leadership philosophy comes to life, the connected learning model comes to life, and the social piece comes to life. You kind of have to have a bit of a master plan. You have to keep showing over and over and over again how they connect. I think really to demonstrate open leadership, connected learning, using social, you have to wake up every day and say, how am I going to make a difference with the people on my team and the organization? If your team is happy, your team is feeling engaged, connected, they want to effusively share, they believe in reciprocity, then it's going to manifest itself in other groups because they're supporting other teams. That gets to become something like, hey, can I join your team? And frankly speaking, now the number of people phoning me up saying, hey DP, can I join your team? It sounds pretty funky what's going on there. Like that's a good thing. So now practically, what do I do? So when we're setting objectives for the year, so let's backtrack to 2010. Let's go to October 2010. So it's Q4. We have a fiscal calendar or a calendar fiscal year. So it's Q4. We're beginning to analyze how we did, what we did in 2010. So as a team, we open up for dialogue. What worked, what didn't, what should we stop, what should we start, what should we continue? So we've got everyone on the team dialoguing with one another. It's live and it's asynchronous. So we've got discussion forums and we've got documents and there's collaboration going on, like being brutally honest when we're engaging and exploring. So then we've got all this great data as a team. It's not Dan, the senior director and head of learning and collaboration saying, team, go do this. It's ridiculous, right? What am I? I'm just like a poster boy for follically challenged. My job is to make sure that I'm collaborative with the team, engaging with them so that we come up with the ideas. So after we have debriefed and we evaluated 2010, now through November and December, we're working as a team, engaging and exploring with one another, saying, okay, what are our objectives for 2011? So they've worked with their teams. So they're out there working with the business units. They're sort of saying, hey, what do we do right? What do we do wrong? They bring that to the table. We come up with this model that sets up our objectives, our actions, our deliverables for 2011. Now then, it gets even more interesting, Bill. It's not me, the so-called leader, who says, hey, Kieran, Lynette, Brian, Benny, go do this. We sort of look around the table, again, virtually, because my team is from coast to coast to coast. We look at the table and we say, all right, who wants to lead this? Who wants to be part of this? So the team then empowers one another to say, you know what, I think I'd like to work with Joanne on this one. Could Kieran and Joanne work over here on this project? Yeah, we'll take that. Or Brian puts his hand up and says, I really need to help my connected learning skills on this particular technology. I'd like to take the lead on this. Anyone want to help me? Because I don't really know perhaps what I'm doing, but I know I work from this. And I, as the boss, sort of empower Brian to go ahead, fill your boot, learn about it, fail. That's okay. I think our team is one of the more engaged teams out there because they feel that they're part of something. And if I can take that and reciprocate and sort of position and help others see that, great. But there's lots of great stuff at Telus happening who are doing the exact same thing. And that's, I think, as a result of these three legs of the stool. One is trust, and the other is partial continuous attention syndrome. So I'll start with the former and come back to the latter. I think as we move to more mobile workforces where managers are in one city and the employees in another, when medium and large scale organizations are downsizing their physical buildings and getting people to work from home more than ever, I think the leadership style of trust needs to change because, again, many leaders believe that it's the face time and seeing someone in a cubicle that they're actually working, and that, in fact, if they just empowered them and trusted that they would be working wherever they are on whatever works their schedule, that's more important than anything. So trust to me is a huge one. So then I almost contradict myself with the comment of partial continuous attention. And why I bring that up is I do worry in the next 3 to 5 years, whether you're boomer, Xer, or millennial, it doesn't matter. The disease is that if you're isolated in your house or you're in an office and you've got all of these social networking pieces of the puzzle, whether they're external as well as your internal, you've got your deliverables, you've got your request to engage more and be part of something. We have to find a better way in which to help people focus on the moment, but also keep in mind that there are times when they have to multitask or have that ability to sort of keep several balls in the air. I worry that partial continuous attention is that no one's actually focusing on anything with depth, and that will be a community of breadth individuals, which may not actually serve its purpose for a company trying to drive customer stat, profits, revenue, etc.